If you want a lean, aesthetic, and Greek godlike physique, you don't need to be freakishly big or freakishly shredded, or spend years in an aggressive bulk feeling uncomfortable with how you look to one day get lean and finally look half decent. The problem with most fitness advice online is these guys are often bodybuilders or physique athletes who are already at an elite level, and their goals are often unattainable to 99% of guys watching their videos. They're pursuing bigger and bigger frames that aren't realistic without anabolic usage and are frankly undesirable for most people. And naturally, their advice reflects this. So in this video, I'll break down the 3 pillars you need to follow to get that Greek god physique in the most simple way possible. And so pillar 1 is to sculpt the physique. If we break the Greek god physique down, it's really just about creating that illusion of a small waist and wide upper torso. So we want our training to emphasize the areas that create those proportions. So when thinking about building a program, we want to emphasize building tissue in areas such as the side delt, upper chest, and lats. I do want to mention though that whilst we prioritize these muscles, it doesn't mean we neglect the rest, as ultimately a complete and balanced physique is what will create the look you're chasing. So in our training, we want to think about using the priority principle, which is essentially training those muscles first in a session more frequently across the week and with a little more volume than the rest. To make it really simple, we can create a simple priority stack with the tier 1 muscles wanting the most attention, tier 2 a little less, and then tier 3 the least. Typically, you'd want to structure this in a full body or upper lower split, as this will allow for most programming flexibility. And I've put on the screen a full body example that you could take if you wanted to try this for yourself. Pillar 2 is just as important, and it's treating health as the foundation. The most underrated lever in terms of how a physique looks and presents itself is your health. Most guys rush to put on a ton of muscle, often neglecting the negative impacts this has on digestive health, oxidative stress, and organ function. And as a general rule, whatever your health looks like internally, this will be reflected externally in your physique. This is why you see the often younger guys pursuing bodybuilding and using steroids who haven't figured this out yet suffer with skin problems, bloated faces, and hair loss. They push PED usage high, neglect micronutrition, sleep, and a healthy lifestyle, and whilst they grow muscle, never look particularly well. So focusing on building a healthy internal environment will have a huge impact on how your physique presents itself externally. This is why the advice of calories in versus calories out being the only thing that matters is actually doing more harm than good. Whilst you do need to think about macro intake, you also need to think about micro intake, hydration, and potential deficiencies you might be ignoring. And the simplest way of doing this is to get most of your calories from single ingredient foods, skipping the protein bars and snacks, aiming to eat at least 1,000 grams of fruit and veg a day, and emphasizing healthy habits on a daily basis. Things like prioritizing sleep, reducing alcohol intake, removing unnecessary life stresses, and caffeine intake sound like boring generic pieces of advice, but all work together to create a physique that looks healthy and appealing. Pillar 3 is then the diet. We've created the aesthetic shape underneath through our training and health pillars, and now we want to showcase what we've actually built. You'll notice that these Greek god physiques were never extremely shredded or unattainable, but typically 10 to 12% body fat. So we don't need to kill ourselves trying to get to single-digit body fat. So we can use a modest deficit, a couple of cardio sessions across the week, and a modest daily step count of 10,000 steps a day. We don't need to rush this process if we don't want to. Sure, you can get in shape very fast if you push things towards the extreme end, but the goal is to create a physique that looks good year-round, not just for a few minutes on a stage in 12 weeks, so don't feel the pressure to push as hard and make it your entire personality. For most, aiming for a 0.5% rate of loss per week is more than enough, and by doing this, you basically risk zero muscle loss. We can keep food higher, which will keep our training performance good, and overall keep that muscle fullness that characterizes the Greek god physique. So to make it really simple, we sculpt that physique through our training, emphasize muscle groups that create that V-taper illusion, layer healthy foundations over this to showcase the physique in the best way possible, and then refine the look in our diet phase to reveal the physique underneath. If you found this video useful, please do drop a like and subscribe. It helps the channel way more than you think. And if you want a full breakdown of how my clients stay in fantastic shape year round, I've left a link to my free 8-day course in the description that you can get entirely for free.